Bergara Premier Competition is now available in 6GT, and we have one of the first ones right here. Gavin here from UltimateReloader.com. We've done a ton of stuff here on the channel with Bergara. I'm really excited about this one right here. Let's get this baby out of the box. This is the Premier Competition in 6GT. This is a cartridge that you're not going to find a lot of factory rifles chambered in. I'm super excited that Bergara has decided to offer this competition rifle in 6GT. This opens up a lot of great options for people that are doing things like PRS matches and don't have an unlimited budget. So we've got the rifle itself, we've got the instructions, we've got an AICS magazine. That looks really nice. Let's see what's in our accessories box here. Actually, it's a bag. Oh yeah, the two rounds, extra round holder for the side of the chassis and some mounting hardware for that. And then, of course, we've got the bolt. Install that. Very, very nice. Let's see what that's going to look like. It's got the Bergara B on the AICS magazine. Very cool. Okay, I'm going to get a bipod installed on this, and I'll go over the features and specs. Okay, so I installed a bipod, and at the same time I took the opportunity to install the Optic and a muzzle brake. So for the Optic, we've got the Athlon Aries ETR 4.5 to 30 by 56. This is the exact scope that we used in the ELR stage in the Rock Chuck Olympics. And then I also installed an EC Tuner V2 tuner brake. So this is both a muzzle brake and a tuner in one. You can go to Cortina Precision to find out more about that. One quick note, the 20 MOA rail that you see installed here is not included with the rifle, so you'll need to think about what rail you'll want to run if you do get one of these. Okay, let's talk about basic high-level specs and features. So this rifle comes with a stainless steel number 7 taper barrel with clear Cerakote finish, 1 7.5 twist. That's the same twist rate that I used on my full custom 6GT that you've seen multiple times here on the channel. We are a fan of 6GT for sure. The stock is an MPA BA chassis. I'll talk more about that in a moment. Has been available in 6.5 Creedmoor, 6mm Creedmoor, and now 6GT. So this is, as I stated at the very beginning of the video, one of the first ones off the production line. Can't wait to try it out. It's a really, really great cartridge that has a great balance of manageable recoil, and that's not about how big of a man you are. This is about being able to see your trace, spot your misses, that kind of thing. That is a critical thing for things like PRS match, competition shooting dynamics, and that kind of thing. And let's see, MSRP starting at $27.50, weight starting at 12.7 pounds, 10-round magazine, Trigger Tech Special trigger, and this is based on Bergara's Premier action. So you've seen the Premier action here on the channel, multiple stories. Bergara's MG Light, my full custom 7 PRC build, and others. This is a really, really great action that has a lot of the features that you'd find in a custom action, but from a manufacturer like Bergara, where you get a bit better value. So it's a Remington 700 footprint. That means that your barreled action can be taken out of this MPA BA chassis and put into a conventional stock or a different platform if you so desire to. It really gives you a lot of great options, or you could take this barreled action and put your 22 long rifle in it for training. We're a huge fan of the B14R rimfire that we have. We've done a few stories on that as well. We could swap back and forth, which is really cool if you are using it as a trainer platform and want to have the same ergonomics as your match gun. Remington 700 trigger hanger. Okay, so we've got the Trigger Tech Special, and that's another thing you could swap back and forth on your Remington 700 compatible rifles, whether they be Bergaras or other clones or Remington 700s themselves. Same scope rail mounting setup as our Remington 700, and again, that opens you up to a lot of great options from different manufacturers, different MOA cants to it, the tilt. It's got a 2-lug bolt system, floating bolt head that is swappable so that you can change your case rim if you're going from one cartridge to another, different sizes of bolt faces, really easy to change that out. And it has a cone-shaped bolt nose that enhances feeding. Okay, let's talk about the MPA BA chassis. This is cool. I haven't tried one of these yet, so I'm looking forward to shooting with it. It's CNC machined from 6061 aluminum with a V-bedding setup for the inlet for the action, which I found to work really well with some of my other stocks that I use in chassis. Integral full-length Arca rail. It's great to see that as a standard on this. I've switched basically all my rifles to Arca, so to have it built in is a huge plus for us. Adjustable cheek riser, adjustable length of pull from 12.75 inches to 14 inches. The recoil pad has a height adjustment and a cant adjustment, which is really great. If I'm down low shooting prone, I like to elevate the recoil pad a little bit so that it gets up onto my shoulder and I don't feel like it's too low, which can be a problem if I'm shooting prone. The night vision bridge gives you additional optics options. Cerakote finish is standard. There's a thumb shelf. This is kind of cool right here. You can see it's very pronounced and it's a part of the grip as well. If you shoot with your thumb on the right hand side like I do, that is also a huge plus. It's got an integrated bag rider. Again, this is great for when you're shooting off the bench trying to tune your loads and you want maximum accuracy. And then also AICS magazine compatibility with the finger release for the mag catch. Good stuff. And before we go shoot, I wanted to talk briefly about 6GT. We did a multi-part series where I built a rifle and we went in-depth reloading and talking about 6GT as essentially an alternative to 6-Dasher. 6-Dasher came onto the PRS scene and became a huge hit. Again, because of its ability to optimize recoil dynamics and long-range ballistics. It's kind of got it all. 1,000-yard plus capability. You can spot your hits and your misses and your trace really, really well. Doesn't beat up the shooter. A lot going for it. What 6-Dasher doesn't have going for it is the feeding can be a little bit finicky and there are special magazine considerations. So George Gardner comes along, essentially lengthens the 6-Dasher so that it will feed reliably out of a standard 308 AICS magazine. Boom, that problem is solved. You can pick up a little bit extra performance as well. There's going to be multiple nodes if you're doing your load development where you can find particular velocity ranges where you're going to have good accuracy. So it's 0.108 inches longer, a little bit better velocity, and you're not going to have those feeding problems that you're going to have with the 6-Dasher. 6-Dasher can be made to run reliably, no question. It's just an extra concern, a little bit of a liability, and special considerations with your magazine. Okay, so now that we've covered the platform, we've equipped our rifle for the field, and we've talked about 6GT as a cartridge, let's go shoot. Impact. Well, I'm back from shooting, and I'll have to say this rifle shoots. Before we could go up to the 100-yard range to sight things in, we loaded some ammunition. And for this load, I used my trusty favorite 6mm bullet, which is the Bergara 105 Hybrid. It has performed super, super well in 6-Dasher. I ran out of them for a while. I just got some recently, so I thought I'd try them in the 6GT. So we whipped together a very quick load, which used Varget. We were at 32.0 grains, and from Hodgdon's Reloading Data Center, they had max at 33.1, so I thought I would start under just a little bit. That yielded 2,733 feet per second average velocity. And the SD was not good in the first 5 shots. It was like 23 or something like that. So some load development would definitely help things quite a bit for that. We had a cartridge overall length of 2.500 inches. If you've been loading 6GT with these Bergara 105s, I'd be curious to hear what powder you're using. We looked at a bunch of different load data, and I'm like thinking that this would be a good load to do some workups on and maybe do some OCW and see where we're going to have that sweet spot of good group size and good velocity. And if we find a good velocity, we can always use the EC tuner to dial that in. So at 100 yards, it was time to get this baby on paper. My initial bore sight did not get me on paper, so I wasted no time. Took one shot, wasn't on paper, went to 50, and I realized that I needed to dial up quite a bit more. So I dialed the scope at 50, went back to 100, and we were not far off at that point. So the first 3 shots on paper went into 0.510 inches with this exact setup. MDT, SkyPod, triple pull bipod on the front, and game changer bag on the rear from the bench. Very simple setup. So that is 0.487 MOA. If this rifle will do that consistently, which I'm pretty confident it will, it's sub half MOA. I think with some load development, we'll get quite a bit better than this. This was almost luck of the draw. Super, super happy with that. And then you can see our follow-up shot after I dialed over to the shots was very close. I think I dialed another click to the left. Reset the turrets, and then it was time to go up to the top of the mountain. We started with our rock chuck targets at 325 yards. For all of this, we're using the Longshot Hawk. This is the spotting scope camera system that works just a lot like the LR3 camera system, the target camera system, where we walk right up to the target, put the LR3 sender there with the camera unit in it. This way we don't have to go to the target, so that's really awesome. And it's pretty much essential to use either something like this or a drone when we're up at the ridgeline, because you'd be walking for a full day to get to some of the targets that we need to record action at. And having the spotting scope camera is a really great way to really quickly get on camera, and with 12-hour battery life, we can shoot all day with it. So we did use that at 100 yards. You saw that in the footage just a moment ago. My first couple shots did not get on the target. I realized I was off the left edge, so I had to hold right a little bit. Let me show you a couple of these shots at 325 yards. So what I did was I dialed my windage just a little bit, confirmed, and then we went over to the 706 yard gong target. And I'm telling you, it was getting late in the day. We did not have a whole lot of light. So I was kind of crossing my fingers and hoping that the shots were going to land on target. And let me show you shots number 1, 2, and 3 at 706 yards. Yep. Three for 3. So that was awesome. 3 shots in a row out of 3. If I was off the target, I wouldn't have a lot of data to go off of because it seemed way too dark to see my trace, and the fairly moist soil kind of absorbed the impacts of the bullets. That's a really difficult time. So super happy with that. Got a really accurate velocity, and the dope calculations seem to be dead on. So then we went over to 1,000 yards. 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 hold up a little bit. I think I might need to hold a little bit to the left. Impact. So again, it was getting even darker at this point. The cameras might be a little bit deceiving here. I mean, it was pretty much just about dusk here. And again, I can't see trace. I held up a little bit and I saw that the shot was landing a little bit to the right, and the prevailing wind is usually from left to right, so that kind of makes sense. So I held off the left edge and I got on the target at 1,000 yards on the third shot. Impact. So my first experiences behind the rifle, awesome. I think this thing is going to be an absolute tack driver, and I really love the way that the rifle feels, the balance of the rifle. It works really well with the SkyPod triple pull, very, very steady support for the front of the rifle, and the Game Changer bag works really good off the back end. You might have noticed, since we did the unboxing, I increased the length of pull a little bit, and I worked with the cheek riser just a little bit as well to kind of get things dialed into my liking. I noticed for the bore sighting that I just crank this all the way up, it pops off, and then that way when you take the bolt out, you can see all the way down the tube to do your visual bore sight with the naked eye, which is kind of the way I like to do it. It's just really quick, it's really simple, and it worked well this time. So the adjustability of the stock, the versatility of it, that additional 2-round holder I think I'll get attached to the outside, really liking it. And the Trigger Tech Special, as always, performed really well. In fact, you're going to want to check out the detailed, in-depth testing that I did with it. This is my trigger scan result here. I went through 3 different pull weight adjustments when I did the trigger scans, and I ran them 3 scans per trigger pull weight setting. And as you can see here, the trigger is extremely consistent. I found that it went down to just over a pound, like 1.050 approximately averaged for the 3 trigger pulls. In the middle, we were hovering right around 2 pounds, and it maxed out at about 3¼ pounds. So this is a trigger that is versatile. You can use it for something like PRS matches, and for a rifle like this, it's also good in hunting rifles because that's when you're going to possibly want to increase the trigger pull weight. Very, very crisp trigger pull. I didn't feel myself pulling off target at all when I was at 700 and 1,000 yards. It's very confidence inspiring. And again, if you want to know more about the Trigger Tech Special, you can check out that other video and article that I've published on that topic. It's just nice to be able to buy a rifle and not need to upgrade the trigger. So overall, I'm extremely pleased with this rifle, and I think it's got even more performance that we can eke out of it, especially with a bit more detailed load development and using the EC tuner brake to just dial things into perfection. But if I'm sub half MOA, I'm happy. The main objective I have, honestly, is to get that SD number down, and I think I can do that with some incremental charge weight experiments, that kind of thing. This ammo was loaded on the Dillon RL550C, so if we used a super precise powder measure, that's another way that we could dial that SD down a bit. It'd be interesting to try different bullets as well. The Bergara 109s would be another bullet to try. I'm really happy with the optic on this rifle. We set the 0 stop, so we're all zeroed and good on that. Basically, more shooting and more reloading are kind of my next plans with this rig. And here's what I'd like to know is, what do you think of the Bergara Premier Competition Rifle? Remember, it's available in 6.5 Creedmoor, 6mm Creedmoor, and now 6GT. I think this is an absolute winner. It's very odd to find a factory rifle in one of these highly desirable specialty chamberings. I think Bergara did an absolutely awesome job. The price point is super, super reasonable for what you're getting. And again, I'd like to know what you think of the Bergara Premier Competition Rifle. Are you thinking about getting one? If you did get one, what chambering would you choose and why? Drop a comment and we'll start a discussion. I appreciate you watching. That concludes this video, and that means it's time to wrap it up. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, we're on Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, where we've got unrestricted content, and Instagram. Make sure to follow us on all those channels. Ultimate Reloader also has a commercial solutions division serving law enforcement, the military, and the gun industry. We have some unique capabilities, including a comprehensive suite of recoil testing and evaluation capabilities, trigger profiling, and more. If you're interested in custom rifles like what we build here on the channel or gunsmithing services, you're going to want to go to rifles.ultimatereloader.com and get on the wait list. If you want to learn lucrative gunsmithing like what I show here on the channel, including building custom rifles and Cerakote plus a whole bunch more, you're going to want to check out the Colorado School of Trades, schooloftrades.edu. Thanks again for watching.